You just survived a battle. Your arms are shaking. You've been marching for 6 days straight, sleeping in a tent with 7 other men, eating the same bowl of grain porridge every morning for 3 months. And today, finally, it's payday. A clerk calls your name. You step forward. He reads out a number, and then, before you can even reach for it, he starts listing deductions. Grain ration, replacement javelin, new belt, burial club contribution, Camp Saturnalia dinner. By the time he's done, the pile of coins in front of you is a fraction of what you were promised. Welcome to the Roman military payroll. Let's start with the number everyone wants to know. How much did a Roman soldier actually earn? In the early Republic, soldiers weren't paid at all. The citizen soldiers of early Rome served as a civic duty. You owned land, you fought when needed, you went home in winter. The army was a temporary obligation, not a career. That changed around 406 BC, during a long siege of the Etruscan city of Veii. Soldiers were away from their farms for months. They were losing money by serving, and so Rome began paying its soldiers for the first time. Fast forward to the late Republic and early Empire. The stipendium for an ordinary legionary was set at 225 denarii per year. A denarius was a silver coin, roughly the size of a modern dime, enough to buy a decent meal or a jug of wine. 225 of them a year sounds like survival-level income. And honestly, it was close to that. But here's the thing. That 225 denarii was the gross figure. What the soldier actually received in hand was something else entirely. Grain ration, deducted. Clothing, tunic, cloak, sandals, deducted. Burial club, deducted. What remained was deposited into a mandatory savings account held by the unit's standard bearer, who also functioned as a kind of unit banker. Soldiers couldn't access their balance freely. A portion was locked away until discharge. The Roman soldier's salary was, in a real sense, not his own. So why would anyone sign up because of what waited at the end? Augustus formalized a military pension system in 13 BC. A soldier who completed his full 20-year term received a lump sum discharge payment, the praemium, of 3,000 denarii. 13 years of gross salary paid out the day you handed in your weapons. That was the carrot at the end of a very long stick. And it worked. Men signed up. Men endured. Because somewhere on the horizon, 20 years away, there was a payout large enough to start a new life. On top of that, bonuses. Generals and emperors handed out donatives, direct cash gifts, to buy loyalty. Julius Caesar doubled his soldiers' pay during the Gallic Wars. When a general celebrated a triumph, soldiers received a share of the spoils. The base stipendium was just the floor, not the ceiling. Now let's talk about the coins themselves. Pay was issued 3 times a year, in January, May, and September. Each time the legion assembled, soldiers were called forward by name, and their pay was counted out in front of witnesses. Everything was recorded by administrative clerks on papyrus. We know this because some of those records survived. Papyrus pay documents discovered in Egypt, preserved by the dry climate for nearly 2,000 years, show us exactly how a Roman soldier's pay slip looked. Line by line, name, unit, amount received, deductions itemized, balance carried forward. One of the most famous is the pay record of a soldier named Quintus Julius Proculus, serving in Egypt around 81 AD. His papyrus shows his gross pay, subtracts hay money, food, boots, and regimental dinner contributions, and records exactly what went into savings versus what he took home. It looks, in many ways, surprisingly like a modern payslip. Here's where it gets darker. In the early empire, the denarius contained roughly 90 to 95% pure silver. It was trusted across the known world, from Britain to India. But wars were expensive. The imperial court was expensive. And as the 2nd and 3rd centuries progressed, emperors began doing something governments have done throughout history when money runs short. They debased the currency. a little less silver in each coin, then less again. By the 260s AD, the denarius contained only 2 to 5% silver. Essentially a bronze coin with a silver wash, soldiers were still receiving the same number of coins per pay period, but those coins bought far less. Real wages collapsed, loyalty fractured. The 3rd century saw over 50 men claim the title of emperor in just 50 years, many acclaimed by their own troops, who expected to be paid for it. The military pay system, in its dysfunction, helped accelerate the fall of the empire itself. And then there were the promotions. An ordinary legionary received the base stipendium, but certain roles came with a multiplier. The tesserarius, who managed guard duty rosters, earned 1.5 times base pay. The optio, the centurion's second-in-command, earned double. The signifer, the standard-bearer who also ran the unit's banking, earned double. And at the top, the centurion, the backbone of the Roman legion. A centurion's salary was roughly 15 to 20 times that of an ordinary soldier. The most senior centurion in the legion, the primus pilus, could earn 60 times the basic rate. Not inherited wealth, not aristocratic privilege. Institutional reward for competence and experience, built into the salary structure. It gave soldiers a reason to stay, a reason to improve. A reason to fight not just for Rome, but for the next rank, the next multiplier, the next step towards something better. So here's what it looked like from the inside. You signed up at 18, you took your oath, you received your first stipendium, and watched most of it disappear into deductions. You built toward a discharge date 20 years away. You were paid 3 times a year in silver. Your savings were held for you whether you liked it or not. You spent what you kept in the settlement outside the fort, on wine, dice, better food than the mess gave you. You sent coins home when you could. You watched emperors come and go. Some of them bought into power by the very donatives they promised you. You kept your equipment in good repair because replacements came out of your pocket. And if you survived, if you were skilled and lucky and patient, you climbed. Your salary multiplied. Your authority grew. On the day you finished your service, you received your praemium. 3,000 denarii, or a plot of land in a province you'd spent years helping to pacify. Enough to start over. Enough to matter. The Roman military didn't just pay its soldiers. It structured an entire life around money, how it was earned, withheld, promised, and spent. The stipendium wasn't just a salary. It was a system of control, of loyalty, and of social mobility, and for 5 centuries it worked. If this gave you a new way of seeing Rome, leave a comment. Tell me what surprised you most. The next video is right there. See you there.